look at Myro. You get this alarm off here. We're going to take a look and see if this thing is possibly heading to the downside. If we have one more correction, or if it's going to break up and bust out of this upper resistance level here. Boy, when it does break out of that, it's going to make a really nice move. This overhead resistance started back in August. All right, this is on a 4-hour chart. The longer you're in a trend, usually the bigger the breakout, right? So, like I said, this thing started in August. You have August, September, October, November, December. Oh, I'm sorry, not December. Geez, it started August 13th. All right, go out on a daily. It's been probably a couple weeks. We've been in this overhead resistance area. You can see a nice push here. Question is, we got to come up and break out of this and head to the upside, up towards that 4 cents, or do we have a push down here? All right, we got the daily RSI reset. Let's see what the rest of the market over here first is doing. Right, we have Bitcoin. Man, straight up pretty much, right? This thing is just taken off and clobbered it. If you count the Elliott waves over here, you got 1, 2, 3, 4. And it looks like we're working on a 5th wave. Does that mean the party's over? No, when Bitcoin tops, no, it doesn't mean the party's over. Usually the altcoins keep running, and that's when we really take off at the alt season. Is when Bitcoin is starting to slow down. That's when the altcoins kind of take over. Now, if we zoom in on Bitcoin here, let's go on a 4-hour. All right, you can see the same thing. This overhead resistance, right? The 4-hour RSI is right at the top here, rolling looks like it's starting to roll to the downside. Now the question is, you can see pretty clearly it's going to 12-hour. 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5th wave here. Is that enough, right, for the down pressure? You can see the 200-day moving average down here, and you can also see the 12-hour RSI starting to roll over, right? Now let's put 8 fib on here and see if that made it the whole way down here. Almost, right? Could it be good enough? It could be. It could be, right? But right in here, you're supposed to have your 5 waves also. So is it 3, 4, and then we get one more push. Very possible. Does it have to? No, it doesn't have to, right? But if it does, one more push down here. Let's win on a 4-hour. Now you can see it clearer, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But you also have 1, 2, you have 3, you have a 4 here, 5. But is it the bigger move that we're looking at, right? One thing that's going to tell you, is either a break of 112.5, it takes out that, then it's a good chance going to take this overhead resistance out and run to the upside. If it comes down here, nobody knows 100% for sure, right? We just do our best with the technical tools and see what happens, right? I mean, for all we know, this thing could just absolutely blast off any second. It's going to do what it's going to do no matter what. If it pulls back here and does not grab by 109.6, right, just falls down through, then look for it to head towards 106, 106.450, right? That would be a final flush down here in a 5th wave. All right, so either grabbed here by 109.6, or we're heading down, or 112.600, and it's going to head to the upside. Now you can also count on a 4-hour, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves right there. All right, so this thing could very easily just ABC, all right, ABC down here into this 109 section, correct, and then head up. Okay, so keep an eye on this box. Very, very important right there. If you go in on an hourly, all right, you can see a little bit more forming here. If you're good with your fib, put your fib on there. You know, see if it stops at the 618. That's 111, 112 area. You know, measure out your A, B, C. You know, bet down into here if that's what it's going to do. You know, we'll have to see what happens. It gets, starts rolling over around in here, and it's a good idea. It's 5 waves down, but you have to keep an eye on this area up here. 112, 111 to 112 area gets rejected. Then we're looking at an ABC probably down to, let's see, about 110, 300, something like that. And then head back to the upside. Now I'm kind of leaning maybe towards the ABC here, because if you come over and look at ETH, right, pull up Ethereum here, kind of looks like that's what Ethereum is doing in here. Right, an ABC. Right, 1 to 4 hour. See a little bit better here. Right, take our fib. It's just ETH seems to be maybe a little bit further along in the process here. All right, you can see a 618 hit right here. If it does ABC here, look for Ethereum to pull back, right around 4,000, 4,100, right in that range. Okay, but after that, this thing is more than likely going to slingshot up towards, let's pull this down to that target somewhere down here around 4,000, right? Then I'd be looking for it to head up towards 53, 54, for the next move up. But we could get the pullback to 4 at the 4-hour RSI rolling right over here. 12-hour, looking pretty weak, not looking real great. And it looks like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves down, quite honestly. That's what it's looking like in there. So keep an eye on Ethereum also. Could be getting a couple ABCs here. Also, this is all kind of lining up. The total market cap, maybe a final flush is what's going on here. You got the total market cap with a fib right here on a 618, typical A, B, pull down towards 3.5, 3.5, 3.6 on the market cap, ABC. Your total 3. These are all kind of in the same spot here, right? That's what it's looking like. Here's your total 3, 618, hit right on the head there. See it here. That's your typical. That's your area, the 618 to 702. If you're not familiar with this stuff, guys, sign up for that level 3 membership in the description of the video. You get 10 hours worth of videos and a link to the Discord to come trade with us. But then videos are more important. If you're not familiar with the fib, you want to be. This is this is my #1 tool, right? I mean, it gives me a heads up on a lot. But A, B, C, maybe down to just under a trillion, 973 to 980, right around there. So it's looking like some ABCs on the total market caps, Bitcoin and ETH, looking that way, right? So what would that mean for Myro over here? If you come out, let's go out on a weekly here, because you can see this under this support line under here, right? Let's get it on there, right? There we go. Touch, 2 more. You got 4 touches down there. So very good, solid support down here, right? And we're looking for bounce that 200-day moving average. You can see we're just underneath it here. Be a good spot for it to bounce, right? Weekly RSI, right at the very top here, right? The monthly. We don't have a monthly. All right. Now let's zoom in a little bit. All right, we got the daily reset. All right, now Bitcoin and ETH, the total market cap do a pullback. What does that mean? Well, could maybe get a pullback here, right? Maybe one more pullback here for Myro. Now let's put a fib on here. These are the levels you're going to want to watch. You know, I think after this final pullback, I think things are going to, you know, smash it. I really do. I think that could be it. Excuse me, I'm cold also. I apologize. I was talking to my buddy Larry in Arkansas, and I guess the COVID. Didn't mean to say that word. Why can't you say that on YouTube? I don't know. Can you? I don't. It's crazy. Anyway, bad cold going around again, I guess. So be careful out there. Now it looks like this area here doesn't hold for Myro, right? Right down through here. This box. Right? If it doesn't do an ABC like everything else, or if it doesn't hold down here at 0.0223, right? If it falls through there, look for it to come right down to about the 2 cents even. That would right over here. If you take a look at over here, you know, I'm big on these Elliott waves, man. They work. They work. Right? You got 5 waves in there. That's on a 4 hour. If you're going on a 1 hour, I thought maybe you could count 5 in there, but you can't. You know, so you could have one more push down here. Hey, that doesn't mean it has to do 5 waves down. That don't mean that at all. These Elliott waves just give you a good idea of what could be going on, right? Right up here. You know, just want to show you if you're not familiar with these, because you should be. Get the videos and watch them for $15 and learn this stuff, man, because, you know, you're going to be a real trader in the market, know when to sell and buy and all that stuff. Then you want to know how to use these tools. I mean, it's super important, very important. Wish I would have known a quarter of the stuff I knew now the last bull run. Would have definitely helped me out a ton. Now you can see that 200-day moving average on the daily right in here at about that 2 cent, 0.02, 0.021, right in that area. So did we get that pull down and bounce off that 200 and slingshot back to the upside? Very possible. You know, when this thing does take off, look out, right? I mean, this overhead resistance, like I said, the longer you're in a pattern, the stronger the breakout normally. And you can even count 5 waves over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves up. All right, so it works. Elliott waves and this Fibonacci, I'm telling you. You know, you had no 618 or anything in here. If you pull it down to that next wick in here, you do, but then that would A, B, C. Oh wow, that matches right up. Look at that. Alright, if you use the wick inside here, not the long wick, the wick after it, on a 4 hour, A, B, up to the 618, pull this down on top, and it matches right up with this possible 5th wave down to 0.020. Very possible, right? Start putting stuff together, confluences, stuff that match up, stuff that check off your boxes for, you know, for entries or exits or whatever. But a very good chance comes down here, right? Especially if Bitcoin and ETH, ABC, you know, could get a pull down to here, right? Keep an eye on this area up here. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you for watching the video. I appreciate it. If you're looking for a place to trade, I got a couple links in the description of the video for Bit2Nix and Weeks. Very great sites. Myro takes off out of here. I'm telling you what, you know, first area is to, I think it's going to really rip. I do. First area is be up towards 3 cents. What kind of increase would that be? Well, if it comes down here, then slingshots up there, that's a 50% increase. 47%, 50%. If you hold $1,000, that's $500. If you hold 100,000, that's 50 grand, right? 47% move. That's a lot. And we're looking for this thing to overall, in the end here, make some really big moves to the upside. I think Myro, it's one of them ones, lower market cap. The low market caps can make the big moves. You know why? Because it doesn't take as much money to move them, right? You have XRP and Cardano and BNB and Solana, all them ones with billions of dollars in market cap. It takes a pile of money to move them. Something like Myro with a, let's have 24, I'm not even sure. I'm pretty sure it's under 100 billion, right? It doesn't take as much to move it. You get big, huge candles, especially with FOMO and all that stuff kicks in. Say Myro does a retracement back up, right? Back up to a 618, even a 50% retracement is a 7.5x, 740%, right? A 618, then you're talking a 9x. Up to a 702, a 10x, right? Say things get really nuts. Full-blown Altseason, not saying this is going to happen at all, right? Probably not, but you never know. Who knows, right? Look at this. Could you imagine? 23x, 59 cents. 23x. That's for every 1,000, you'd make 23,000, right? If you had 100 grand, that's 2.3 million. Yeah, it's some big numbers, right? So keep your eye on this. Watch them areas I told you about. Look for possible ABCs of Bitcoin, Ethereum, the total market cap. And watch that pyramid greed index. Hopefully tumble. Let's take a look at that real quick. Lower it goes, the better. When you're in extreme fear, it seems like that the signals bottoms. When you're in extreme greed, that seems to signal tops. It does every time. It's unbelievable. If we come over here, take a look at the. Let's get to the top here. Market overview. That's what we want. Let's see where it's at. Right, you got Ethereum dominance rising. It's at over 14 now, which is great. You got Bitcoin dominance dropping. That's what you want to see. Altcoin season index is at a 47 out of 100. If you're in greed's at a 45, that's great. You want to see that keep dropping. That's a good sign. November 20th, we were in extreme greed. Where's November 20th? Of 2024, October, December, November 18th. Look, Bitcoin's price was at 98. Right, that was the yearly high. This is Bitcoin's. Which one's Bitcoin's price? The gray. All right, this up here. 90,000. Which one's which here? Okay, the Bitcoin price is the gray. The Pure and Greed Index is right up here. Alright, so Bitcoin, we were still in right up here in extreme greed when that top came in there. Right, and extreme fear seems to signal lows right here. Extreme fear. Right, there was the low and it started up. Over all through here, extreme fear, the price headed up. Extreme fear right here, mark the bottom of the bear market. Extreme greed, mark that first top in 2021. And we got up into the greed again, mark the top. So the lower this goes, the better, right? Yearly low, November 20th. Where's that extreme fear? March 10th, 2025. March 10th. All right, right down in here. March 14th. March 10th was right about here. Just about marked the bottom, right? Right over here was the bottom. So lower that goes, the better. Altcoins season index. We're at a 47 out of 100. You have to have 75 out of the top 100 tokens outperforming Bitcoin over the last 90 days to signal an alt season. Right now we have 47. All right, here's your altcoin season index is the brown. Down here it's at a 47. And here's the altcoin market cap up here. If we could come down here. These are the tokens that have outperformed Bitcoin in the last 90 days. The green ones, that's your, right down through. And this is your top 100 tokens also. There's Bitcoin. I wish it would put a number where it's at here. Don't. It just says, and here's the ones that Bitcoin has outperformed. Now if you come down here, how can I tell when it's alt season, right? During alt season, several market characteristics emerge. Increased altcoin dominance. Altcoins collectively gain prominence in the crypto market. In the recent altcoin season in May of 2021, the combined market cap of the top 100 altcoins reached around 130% of Bitcoins. Rapid price appreciation. This is the fun part. Altcoins experience significant price increases across the board, often outpacing the growth of Bitcoin. For example, large cap altcoin prices achieved 174% returns. That's large cap. Versus Bitcoin's 2% during the altcoin season from February to May 2021. Narratives pop up and are not limited to just one or two trends. FOMO, overall market sentiment during the altcoin season, is typically bullish, driven by optimism about the potential for altcoins to deliver substantial returns. Yeah, people are saying, oh, this is going to $50 when it's at 10. And me and Larry just talked about this a little bit ago. My buddy Larry from Arkansas, big supporter of the channel. We were talking about that. People, for instance, XRP will be at $10 and they'll say it's going to go to 20 and won't sell. But FOMO, all right, a bunch of people coming into the market. You have Bitcoin dominance dropping and Ethereum dominance rising, and people make a pile of money, and the fear and greed index will be an extreme greed, right about at the top. So thank you so much for watching, guys. Have a great day. I will be back with you very soon. Hit that like and subscribe. Check out the description of the video. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.